From AgriPoint, I'm James Kotecki, and this is the Point Cloud on location at the Aim for Climate Summit in Washington, D.C. And Martijn van Nieuwkoop, the Global Director of Agriculture and Food Global Practice at the World Bank, is joining us now. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, and pleased to be here.
So let's talk about what brings you here. I mean, the World Bank, agriculture and food is obviously something that's so connected to the global themes here at Aim for Climate, but what brings you here to the summit today?
Well, it's a very good question, so it's really necessary that agriculture is being put front and center and squarely into the climate debate. I mean, it has been lagging the other sectors, and I think Aim for Climate can really kind of contribute to that and actually remind us, that agriculture and food is both a culprit and a victim of climate change. If you talk about agriculture and food being a victim of climate change, climate change is real for smallholder farmers, the 500 million smallholder farmers in this world. Based on the latest data that there is out there, agriculture productivity would have been 21% higher in the absence of climate change. So smallholder farmers are already a victim, clearly.
So our technology, our innovation needs to fill a 21%. We're in the hole 21%, even just starting out.
Exactly. And it's a culprit because agriculture and food makes up about 30%, 33% of global greenhouse gas emissions. So that's very, very significant. And it's good that conferences like Aim for Climate, really put that squarely on the map. Yeah.
Well, let's contextualize for folks who are maybe not as familiar with the World Bank and with your particular mission at the World Bank, of what exactly the work that you are doing contributes to this overall puzzle here.
Well, the World Bank, provides advisory services, policy advice, and particularly financing to our client countries in the world. So in the agriculture and food global practice, we work with the stakeholders in the agriculture sector. Starting with the ministries of agriculture around the world. We are trying to kind of mainstream climate smart agriculture into our operations. So where we try to kind of unlock the potential and seek triple win solutions. Increasing productivity, enhancing resilience, and reducing the carbon footprint of the agriculture sector in a kind of simultaneous fashion. And we're putting the money behind that. The bank provides about $5 to $6 billion in lending annually. And there is a system in place that has been agreed among the international financial institutions on how to calculate climate co-benefits associated with this financing. And in the agriculture sector at the bank, we are about 50 to 60% of climate co-benefits, meaning for every dollar that we provide financing, 50 to 60 cents actually is recognized as climate financing. And so we're doing $6 billion per year, say 50%. So we're providing about $3 billion in climate financing for agriculture and food every year, and thereby we're one of the biggest providers of climate financing. Also, the corporate target for climate co-benefits is 35%. So it's also showing that in agriculture and food, we're really leaning in.
Get the bang for your buck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, climate and climate with respect to agriculture, such a complex puzzle. What are the areas that you're finding are the most exciting or the most beneficial to capital infusion? And so, in other words, are there areas where you especially get the most bang for your buck? Certain things that if you spend money on it, you're going to get that return more so than other kind of mitigation activities?
Yeah, so clearly, the biggest bang for the public buck is investing in ag research and innovation. Many studies have been done, and the rate of returns typically are in the range of 30 to 40%. And therefore, it's quite a contradiction. That governments actually do not invest enough in agriculture research and innovation. The yardstick or the benchmark is about 1% of agriculture GDP. Most countries, when I talk about our client countries, are way below that, 0.3%, 0.4%. Middle East and North Africa, one of the regions most vulnerable, to climate change, actually is investing least compared to all regions in ag research and innovation. So that's definitely something that we're putting on the table in our conversations with governments.
And how does that research get shared with the global community? We're at obviously a very international conference right now, ministerial representation from I think 30 or 40 different countries, but I assume that some of that research is area specific, right? Things that grow in a certain region, the research might not apply elsewhere. But to what extent are you able to kind of take research that's done in one place and share it with the wider community?
Well, the thing is, I mean, the bank has quite some experience and track record, in supporting a kind of regional collaboration in agricultural research and innovation, because clearly, there are economies of scale and network effects. I mean, particularly when countries kind of specialize in certain research, so that not all countries kind of reinvent the wheel, particularly when it comes to the upstream, more strategic research. And what I say, we have quite a good track record there, and to the satisfaction of our clients. I mean, the bigger question, of course, is, to what extent are innovations put in the hands of the farmers? And I think that's a much bigger question than sharing research globally. The issue there is, and you were pointing in that direction, when it comes to mainstreaming climate smart agriculture, there are no silver bullets. So it's not just one thing that farmers need to change. I think solutions come actually in packages, and that's quite knowledge intensive. And for that reason, governments need to invest in extension and advisory services. The other thing is that solutions do not come as blueprints, and they need to be adapted, as you said, to local conditions. And that means that you need adapted research as well to actually make sure that maybe some of the findings that you do in the upstream strategic research actually are applicable in farmers' fields. So when you talk about investing in agricultural research and innovation, we need a larger envelope. We like to see countries moving to the 1% of agricultural GDP, but also we need a better balance between the upstream strategic research and the adapted research and the knowledge advisory services and extension services.
Absolutely, putting it into practice. Do you think that's going to be a theme that we see as we look at the role of agriculture as we head toward COP28?
I hope so. And, one of the things that we are standing for is that in order to mainstream climate smart agriculture and get a food system that really supports healthy people, planet, and economy, we need to accelerate innovation. Farmers need to have the technologies that not only increase productivity, but also build resilience and reduce the carbon footprint. So also the objective function, so to say, of research needs to change. So what we would like to see is, for instance, a commitment of countries that at minimum that they invest 1% of agriculture GDP in ag research and innovation.
And we've seen, I think even here at the event, I've seen even in the exhibit hall, ideas around in some of the conversations I'm having for the show, around how do you actually take this technology and make it easy to use, make it accessible, make sure that it actually works in the field and it works in practice. And of course, those are going to be themes we continue to explore.
And also, for instance, digital technologies can play an important role there. Because that actually would make extension services also much more effective, in actually getting the knowledge transfer out, to farmers. So we see that as a major opportunity to improve the quality of extension services in a kind of a cost-effective kind of fashion. So when we actually make the case that countries need to scale up their investments in ag research and innovation, we also have ideas on how to do that in a cost-effective fashion. Yes.
A lot of the work in ag is still relatively manual and old school, and a lot of it is extremely high-tech and innovative, and it's just an interesting industry and an interesting space to be in as we look at climate and beyond, because those things are all coming together and coming together in the field. Final thoughts here at Aim for Climate Summit.
Well, the final thoughts, what I say, there's a lot of discussion going on, a lot of technologies that are being demonstrated here, a lot of innovation, a lot of talk about financing also. I think that's another question I think that we need to focus on. When it comes to the question on how do you put technologies in the hands of the farmers, I talk about the specificities of the technologies, but even if farmers have the knowledge and know how to apply it, they also need the financing actually to kind of bring it to the farmers' field. So And we see that actually climate finance right now, that agriculture and food, contributing to 33% of the greenhouse gas emissions, only receive about 4 or 5% of climate financing. So I think that's a major issue. How can we move that in the right direction? Also, when you look at the incentives structure and you look at the public support programs, that governments are providing, to agriculture, to the tune of about $700 billion per year. Only 35 cents of every dollar actually ends up effectively in the hands of farmers and contributing to increased productivity. So it's very, very ineffective. So actually, how can ministers of finance and countries use this massive public support, more effectively? And can we bring that agenda, to COP as well, so that 700 billion that now is part of the climate problem in agriculture and food can actually become part of the solutions. And I think we see a lot of potential there as well. Yeah.
A lot of opportunity and a lot of work ahead. Martin van Nieuwkoop, thank you so much from the World Bank for joining us.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
And thank you so much for watching. We're here at the Aim for Climate Summit in Washington, D.C. I am James Kotecki from AgriPoints, and this is The Point Cloud.